Hello everybody, Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. I'm going to do something interesting today. I'm going to show you on the maps, on the Google Maps, the evidence that I found for the tunnels and underground homes, and then we're going to come out here outside and I'm going to show you what I've got outside. I think you're going to find this real interesting. All right, now we're at the computer and I'm going to show you here on the far left, okay, on this picture right here. This one is from Google Earth Historical Maps. You can go look it up for yourself right now. Just go back to around 2011, about 6 months before I shot right here by somebody under my home. And you'll see where they cut the ground right there behind Home Depot. That's what I call the Home Depot tunnel, and it comes right at my house. What I want to show you here is, let's project it straight out, and it's going to come right into the middle of my house. You see that at where my den is, and I recorded a lady saying, it's in your den, it's in your den, and that's where that comes from. The Home Depot tunnel projected out comes here. When we get outside, I want to look at that, okay? And also you can see where it also looks like they poured concrete all in here, and then when after I'm at Homeland, they dug all that up and poured concrete again. That was real weird. Okay, and in a minute I'm going to show you here where a tree was taken out on this side. In the backyard is where the underground home is, and I'm going to show you that. Hold on. Okay, this map is from Google Maps, is from the internet. That map was from Google Earth, which is an app. Okay, and what I'm showing you here on the map screen, you see a large building in my backyard. Okay, but you switch over to the satellite screen, you can't see it from above ground. Well, obviously that's one of the four 3-bedroom underground homes built in 1987 for the Bushes. The Safe House Project, PBK Engineering was the contractor. All this information, that's where the oil show parties were going on. It's where I was told pizza party were going on, and I was also told about it. Hey buddy, the word around town is there's an underground game room here where all the high rollers go. Obviously this is it, but remember there was 4 of these and that's only one of them. Okay, so the underground, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna look in my backyard, and I'm gonna show you. Okay, I'm going to show you this one right here, and I'll start at the bottom. These are from Google Earth Historical Maps 2014, and you can see where the tree is there behind Home Depot. But by 2016, the tree's gone, and that tree was right next to a suspected tunnel entrance, this manhole. I had sent that picture to the chief of police just a few months after I was shot by somebody under my home with phone lines cut. You know, one thing they did, like I said, they took that live tree out right there, and I believe that was to cover all this up. And then they also poured concrete here. I've got a video showing them pouring concrete there. So I think it was used for human trafficking, actually. All these truckers were coming 24/7. I think there were the people in the attic were meeting them over there. That's what I believe. But what I want to show you is the missing tree when we get outside, okay? And so you can see that. Okay, and the last thing I want to call your attention to is right here by my shed is where I heard the digging noise. And this is where the suspected tunnel entrance was in the next door neighbor's backyard, okay? And I had it dated 2014. By 2016, because I was online posting all this information going, hey, this is a capital murder attempt, all of a sudden it's taken out. The suspected tunnel entrance is taken out and the tree's taken out at the same time. And so I think a cover-up went on. And right here is where the digging noise is, and right there next to it is where the underground home is. So I wondered if this wasn't connected over to the underground home. And then the underground home was already connected to, to people under my home going up into the attic. Okay, but here, let me show you that. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna show you the video first.
My dog alerted me to something strange over by the shed. I'm going to show you it now.
Here. That is coming from under the ground. I mean, that's all there is to it. And like I said, it was my dog that was like, hey, something's going on over here. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But let me show you it once again where that would be, okay? That's right there where that arrow's pointing at, right there in the corner of that shed. And here's where the suspected tunnel entrance in the neighbor's backyard. And here's where the underground home is, where it's believed, all the parties were going on. Let's go outside and look. Okay, this is my back door to outside. Okay, and behind my house, directly behind the house, is the Home Depot store. See the loading zone right there, and right above the loading door there's a camera, but that was put up after they seemed to stop everything around here. But remember, the middle of my house, if we projected out the Home Depot tunnel, then the middle of my house is right here, pretty much where it comes right here. And let me show you on the ground right here in the middle of my house. The concrete's broke right there, and the concrete's broke right there. And if I follow that out, it goes all the way up to that corner right there. Now, I want to show you something else. Look how wide it is on the bottom and how narrow it is in the top. Okay, so that's one place there's a possible crawl space for somebody to come under here where the concrete's broke and go right up into the attic, and I think maybe a false roof up there to hide from there. Okay, let me show you out here the digging noise. Okay, now we're coming over here to the east side of my house. Okay, this is where the underground home is located as in Google Earth historical maps. It's right there in that area. You know, we can see where it comes here and goes there and right here. So it's right there in the middle. I want to show you something unusual. Notice how there's a big natural ditch right there in the middle. See where it's not level, it goes down like a foot or 2 foot deep right there. And that, what I believe, is the original level of the ground, because I'd already proved, like here in the corners where the foundation is 1.5 feet under the ground. The old fence, you could look over it because it was 1.5 feet taller. So all this dirt was added on top of this lawn. And where did it come from? It come from the basement in the ditch building. It was excavation dirt, and they didn't want to haul it off, so they spread it out. That's what happened. And then that's why they buried it, and it was a clue. I'll show you that. There's the shed, okay, and it was right on the other side of the shed where the digging noise was that I recorded, okay. And here you can see how low this is right here. That's what I was talking about, you know, going down, back up, you know. So let's go over here, okay, and that's where the noise comes from, that corner, okay. On the other side of that shed was where the suspected tunnel entrance was for the next door neighbors. Okay, now let's go out in the alley, okay, and I want to show you stuff I found on this wall right here, okay, the Home Depot wall, okay, and there's quite a bit of grass growing up there, but I can still show you if I walk over here because I know right where it's at. Okay, let me show you right here. See how they're stepping right there? See, it's like up for to about, what, 4 inches up, the size of a brick, you know, 3.5, and it starts right here. Okay, that's new concrete. That's what I'm saying. It goes here. It looks like when they're digging it out, the backhoe hit the telephone pole. You know, that's what happened there, and they cut the ground wire, so there might be a work order on that, and we know when it was done. And they come in here, all new concrete, new concrete, new concrete. This whole thing was cut right here. Okay, new concrete. And let me show you, right here in the middle of that support column, that's where it ends, right there. You would never end it right in the middle of a support column. That they dug under that from here, right here, all the way over to here, right there. That's good. That's you know, you can see it. And let me go down and show you some more. Okay, now I'm walking down the alley, going east again. Now remember, the underground home's over here on my right, in the backyard right there. Okay, and I want to show you some things that I found right here that's supporting. One, starting with, remember the missing tree that had the open manhole that I sent the picture to the, you know, to the chief police? It's right on the other side of that. Okay, and look at this telephone pole right here. This is an interesting story on the telephone pole, because I noticed, I was tracing the cable connections to all the houses, and I found out they come from above ground. But I looked at this one, and it's a Suddenlink cable, and it goes underground. It goes there. So I knew it didn't go to the houses. I contacted Home Depot. They said it wasn't ours, and next thing I know, Suddenlink showed up with a disconnect notice for it. And, you know, I was posting it online and everything. I think it was to cover it up. One other thing I'll show you, on this side of this pole, big old open manhole, and I wonder if that wasn't a vent pipe for the underground home. And the underground home is right there. And as I said, the other suspected tunnel entrance would be right there. And so there's a lot to see here. All we need is some law enforcement.